Hey, Stefani. We've been talking about building our agents for a while, and we have experimented a lot with how to drive specific value to our business, not just play around with these technologies. And one of the use cases we have mentioned many, many times is the SEO agents. So, in this conversation, we want to go into much more practical examples of how did we set up an SEO agent to produce content for our website as well as monitor its performance by itself and ideally self-improve. And you're the master project, so you're the man.
I am indeed. Well, it's very good that you're saying that I'm the master of the project because I'm definitely not the master of SEO. This has been one of the main drivers why we started like doing this agent work for the website because none of us really understands enough of SEO and wants to delegate resources to this because at the end of the day, we're founders. So my core competency and where I put most of my energy is in the design part. So I was so excited when initially like we were playing like with OpenClaw to get it to work on this. What did I do in a nutshell? Initially, we have like a framer setup for our website, and I got
Framer
the
is
this
it's like Webflow, it's like what was the ancient one that still some people were using?
WordPress.
WordPress. There you go. It's like
Yeah,
WordPress.
I think roughly 30% of the internet is still based on WordPress.
I know,
For me, it does feel Asian, but um, we do use like Framer like for CMS and also like for building the website. I'm super happy with it compared to Webflow. And essentially like the agent that I created is using like this CMS collection right here. It just connects like to our CMS and it writes like these articles, right?
It has a cover. It has all the elements. Let's inspect it. So it has a title, slug. It generates all these things.
It does. So the whole setup. Let me open up here. I asked it to create like a diagram of the way that it works, and that's not code. That's my terminal. Um, so the way that it works is that it gets data from the Google Search Console, picks keywords, writes article. It sends it to Slack where we can review and approve it, and I'll show you that in a minute. Then publishes it to the website. It monitors like the Google Analytics traffic as well as like the Google Search Console and evaluates the performance of the different keywords and articles. And then it repeats. Sometimes it can improve old articles, like refresh them. It also creates like internal linking.
Show us exactly the workflow. So you did it to Google search. Can you go ahead and show us what is the current performance? What are we trying to improve here?
That's a good thing. You got to make this caveat. Like I don't have any experience with SEO, so I'm very much reliant on Cloud Code, like when I'm strategizing and when I'm setting up the product. But the Search Console, from what I understand, is basically monitoring like if our website is being indexed properly, if there's any errors. And there were some, so we got those fixed. And the Google Analytics is basically how well the website is performing, how much traffic it's driving. And yeah, this is the current state of things. But honestly, Yana, like it's really hard for me like to figure out like if we're doing good or not. For me, the only benchmark that makes sense is booked calls, right? Um, how many calls are we getting? Like how many qualified leads? And this was like one strategic decision that we did on the website was to focus only on bigger companies where there is like probably we're going to get fewer book demos, but there is a higher buying intent, longer sales processes as well. But essentially, you need to go through the whole booking process in order like to get to the product. So this is what we're trying to improve, right?
How did you connect this data to the agent? Let's start from there. Is it through an API key or how do you do it?
Yeah, everything is like through API keys. And because I didn't know how to do it, I asked Claude Code to help me with it. And basically, this is like the development folder in the project. The way that I would approach it is I would say, hey, like, this is what I want to do. That's the outcome that I want to get. This is what we're using, like analytics and Search Console. Ask me questions, like help me clarify this, help me like spot mistakes and make a simple setup. So we'll go into this like essentially like back and forth communication where Code would help me clarify and essentially build a roadmap for me. And from there, we're going to start implementing.
It sounds like you use it as a sparring partner, also thinking partner that already has more knowledge than you in SEO, but it helps you the way you sound. It sounds on your prompt, challenge it to discuss things with you. You don't just say,
Build me this. Yeah, it's a very good way of, that you're putting it. I use it as a thinking partner. I use it like to help me challenge my assumptions because I know what the outcome is. I don't know how to get there because I don't have like the technical knowledge and I don't have also like the SEO knowledge. So this, what you're seeing here, like all these modules, like the keyword engine, the content generator, like these are parts of this product that's in collaboration. No, okay. All these like modules, um, essentially we build them together. And the key thing about like these LLMs is that it's really about like the context that you feed them with. Because if we didn't have like that back and forth conversation that we clarify what is it that we want to get as an outcome, and I just say, build me an SEO agent that drives traffic, probably is going to do similar things, but it wouldn't have done it to the extent of what we need right now as a business and our technical setup. So the keyword engine essentially it's harvesting queries from the Search Console. It's creating a portfolio based on them. So some of them would be higher competition keywords, other keywords would be lower competition, but maybe longer. So it creates like this portfolio that it evaluates over time to figure out, okay, should we put more content on these keywords? Should we deprecate certain keywords? If there is like keyword articles that are competing for the same keywords, it will just figure this out and clean them up. This is what cannibalization means.
what does it mean by trend and intent?
I am not too sure about this, but you know what we can do? I can say, hey, for module one, what does it mean of the product? What does it mean to score by trend and intent? So this is the super exciting thing about this technology that I don't understand a lot of things. And just like that, I can really use the tool to help me learn as I'm building it. And right now it's checking the roadmap. And it's probably also going to check like the technical setup. Now it's looking at the keyword engine module like this one. And in a little bit, it's going to give us basically the response. Okay.
So you build the whole agent with Cloud Code.
Yeah, but it's very important to say that it's a piece of software. And for certain aspects, it's using AI, but for other aspects, it's using just standard software. And this was an important decision that I made in the beginning because, like, certain tasks are way better handled as just a regular software and cheaper in terms of tokens. This is what most of these scripts are made for. You can think of it as a checklist of doing one step after another in specific order, gaining specific access. But for these kind of like classifications and the writing and the research, this is where we use the AI, and we use like different different versions of Claude for the different tasks. So cheaper models, we use them for like simpler tasks, and for research and evaluation, we would use Opus 4.6. So for example, for this thing that we're here, like the trend and intent, basically like the trend measures whether a keyword is gaining or losing search popularity over time. So this has to do with the overall like search behavior for these keywords. So the code pulls Google Search Console data from 2 time windows, 30 days and 60 days. And then it runs some formula, and based on that ratio, it just evaluates like whether this is like going up or down. The intent is about why someone is searching, what they want to do. So this is where we use the Claude Haiku, which is like a much smaller and faster model to read each keyword and put it into one of 5 buckets. How to intent, alternative. So this is like higher buying intent. Basically, if somebody's looking for alternatives, let's say of alternatives of Guru or Slack AI, it means that they're in the buying mindset. Same with best, it's kind of like in that category. And then we have like the what is and informational intents, which are more of like higher in the beginning of the say like buying awareness. Exactly. So this is what this portfolio of keywords and articles is about. Like it kind of covers different parts of the intent. So this is like the keyword engine, the
Very cool.
content
We
generator.
just ask and check it, right?
It is. It's so nice. It's so nice because if you're just a little bit curious, it just means that you can learn at your own pace. You can um, create tools depending on your need as a business owner, and like it feels so much like a game. Like it's so interesting because I'm always anticipating like what kind of a questions is it going to ask me when I give it this prompt to think with me. So a lot of the decisions that went into this were based on this back and forth. This one in particular, this is like where I had more input because I wanted to create a good user experience for us inside Slack. And I can show you here.
So that's the third module where it generates the content.
Yes. So basically, let me just show you, for example,
That's
here.
the agent.
That's the agent. So I worked with it to simplify this message in the way that the whole approval works. So basically, it comes in, it says, hey, like, here is like an article, so we can review it. In this case, all of these ones that we're seeing is just refreshes that it did.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can either reject it, we can request a change and say, hey, like correct this or like change this. It's very important like to be specific here. And then we can approve it and it's going to go on payment. So let me show you how it's going to work. Hey, let's run the script to generate a new article and send it to Slack. Usually, like this thing is happening on a schedule, but now we're gonna prompt it, and it's going to do it for us in Spot. It does like the weekly report as well.
It published 198 articles for real.
Yes and no. Like these ones are kind of like things that it has updated on these articles.
I see.
Small changes that it has done, but basically, if we look at this, probably it's a little bit small, but I can't make it larger. But these 342 articles that are made by the agent are basically, AI generated. Okay, so let me just see.
342, like, do you read all the articles personally, or like, how do you do it?
I don't read them. It's I just skim very quickly like through the title and the top summary. I don't have the capacity like to do all that. Would be nice like if we had somebody to do it, right? And that's why we built this agent.
So interesting, you build the system with human in the loop approval, but
Yeah.
we actually don't have that human. So do you think we're gonna go full automation? Or, so what is your workflow now that you have to approve them?
I am waiting for it like to basically like run that script and generate the article. And then I'll show you how it works.
But if you have to explain, you on a daily basis basically skim through this channel you have created, you click approve, and unless something stands out, and then it
Yeah.
auto publishes.
Exactly. Exactly. It publishes it to Framer and then I just publish publish the changes and it's live.
Okay, so it goes into a draft mode there. It doesn't auto publish them live, correct?
Yes. Like we set up like the flow in Slack just to make sure that you get that visibility and we also get a sense of what kind of content it's building.
A couple of
Right.
weeks ago, I saw it essentially referring every link to slack.com articles and content, regardless whether it was relevant or not. For whatever reason, it has decided that all this needs to lead to Slack instead of questionbase.com. So we had to ask it to change all the linking, plus make sure that it does internal linking to improve its performance in SEO.
Yeah, this was an important feedback that you pointed out that I took with it, and essentially we figured, okay, we're gonna build these couple of things, and then we're gonna run changes on the articles that have been implemented so far, in order like to implement this changes for internal linking. One thing that is also good as per doing this. So you have like that back and forth and then create a plan. And then you can take that plan and you can open a new session, right? So you're going to have like a new session and then you're going to say, take a look at this. And then you can say, give me the good, give me the bad, and give me the ugly. So you can use the different session of Claude to evaluate itself, evaluate the decision that is done. And it's so fun because you kind of like play.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing we've noticed with the performance of it, because as you work out the plan with the agent you're currently working with, they start getting prompt to wrap it up as they fit their context. So they have very high confidence that this is the right way to do it. And their incentive to burn through more context is very low to self evaluate. So we actually benefit from kickstarting a new session with empty context and giving it now the produced asset and asking for an evaluation of it. And does
Yeah.
quite good job to see where it has missed a piece of content or a point of view, and then you can go back to the initial session, say, hey, no, this is the actual plan we're gonna follow.
Yeah, like the context that you fit it with is so important. Like the more I work with this, the more I see that it's just a tool. It's not like a all-knowing conscious being. Like it's a tool and it's really important understanding how to use it better. And one big part in that better usage is really the kind of context that you get, because based on the conversation that you're going to have, the solutions that it's going to come up with are going to be different.
Let's just talk about the cost of this. we had an SEO agent that was AI through a SaaS external tool that we were paying $200 per month for. It's still a fraction of what you would pay to actually having SEO person on your team. But it was also very limited in its capacity. It was producing content, but that's it. It wasn't grounded in our analytics. It wasn't grounded in our search console. It wasn't self-improving, and really, like we didn't have any control over the settings and functionalities as we do here to iterate and improve its performance. So that thing we were paying $200 for because it was still meaningful to us. How much are we paying right now in your evaluation through this agent that you built?
So the only cost for this is running the API. And when I say API, running the model for researching and generating content through Claude. So that costs us less than $5 a month with the current setup. And the current setup that's done with publishing 2-3 articles a week and reevaluating, monitoring like for performance, like all of these things. This is like the really interesting part because you can optimize a lot of your business processes and do it in quite an efficient manner. So let me see. Like it should, has it? Yeah, here is like a new article that it wrote while we were talking because it also had some problems that it fixed. Slack Events API acknowledgement requirements, what every developer needs to know. Wow, interesting. So
Yeah.
here I've made it so that it's integrated like with the Slack experience. So it's easy like for us like to open it here and
So it opens it in Canvas in the so-called functionality
yeah,
file within Slack, which is called Canvas. It is a text editor essentially with properties of rich text.
that's right. And this is on read only. So I don't do any changes here. Like if I want to introduce any change to this, I'll use the request changes basically. Because this is like the way that it works with the database. Like all these articles are stored in the database of the SEO agent, which is on my Mac Mini. So it technically it makes a copy that adds it to our Slack, but it's not dynamically related. Like if we do changes here, they're not going to get reflected in the database and they're not going to get sent to Framer. So this is for preview only. Now I hit publish. So if I go here, we can see the article. There is a folder with images. So there is like a cover. There's a folder on the Mac Mini with AI generated images, and it picks one at random, and it just rotates them. And over time, like I'm feeding more to this folder. So basically, it did all that. And now I can see that the article is here and I can just update it and it's in production. It's building it and it's going to get published in production.
Nice. Nice.
Deploy.
One interesting question that seemed quite technical article related to Slack. Why do you think it chose this topic? And how does it relate to knowledge management and the agent we are building?
Well, it's a good question to ask. Why did you choose this highly technical topic? And how does it relate to our product? What's the intent? So now, hopefully, it's going to walk us through its reasoning and the kind of keywords that it used.
And if we don't like it, if we spot something,
Then in the Slack flow, we can request changes and it will do the whole thing again and it will create a new article for us to review. Why the engine picked it? Scorer, which is another of these modules, is purely mechanical. Picked this keyword because it had a high opportunity score, 806. driven by good impressions on the Google Search Console. People are already finding question base for this query, how to intent, 3x multiplier. So this is like this intent formula that we were looking at that built the portfolio, and likely in the positions of 8 to 20. So my assumption is that this kind of terminology and this kind of thinking is very common in the SEO profession. I wouldn't know why it's a bad fit. So this is an interesting thing. It also gives us counter arguments. The person searching for Slack Events API acknowledgement requirements is a software developer building a Slack app. They want to know the technical rules for responding to Slack's webhook events within 3 seconds. That's nothing to do with buying a knowledge management tool. So here is an interesting thing. It gives us, the engine doesn't know what question-based sells. So because like we're doing this software and the different parts are kind of executing all these specific tasks that we see here, it's very important that the right parameters are set so that they execute on the right goal.
So you see, actually, the problem is not in the concrete article itself, but it seems like we are missing a component in these modules, which is gonna do this ICP relevance filter, as it suggests, where it can score if a keyword will be relevant to the buying persona of question base before it starts conducting that keyword. So this is how we can now go ahead and improve our SEO engine, because unaware of this, we have ended up already ranking well for some of these keywords, but these keywords don't serve us in any way beyond traffic. So we actually, by us grounding it into the data of these keywords and their performance, we are not improving our conversion rates. So there is something here that we can improve by creating a research of more relevant keywords.
Yeah.
And then creating this scoring element for ICP and then embedding it into the engine. But the interesting thing is none of this we could do with the previous tools. So now with one, we can spot these problems and we can actually do something about them.
This is the really exciting part because it really feels like a game that you're building something. And because the way that these LMs work, when you engage in a conversation, like they're always gonna give you something that you can think about and you can ask questions and you can essentially like build these highly custom solutions that are super tailored to whatever your needs are. Does it make sense like to build software and agents for every aspect of your business? Probably not, because at the end of the day, like as you can see, like this requires maintenance. We're not going to build our own Slack, or we're not going to build our own Riverside that we can use. Yeah, I think generally like there's been a lot of fear mongering that SaaS is dead, that people are just going to build their own product. But this is just ridiculous. Like it's just not realistic, especially like for large businesses where accountabilities is so high. It wouldn't make sense for a company to build its whole tech stack instead of just delegating this responsibility like to somebody else and paying the price for it. So if you're thinking about like doing this, start with something that you feel that you should be doing, but you don't really have the knowledge or capacity to do it. And just use that conversational way, like in order to figure out what is it that you want to do.
Nice. Thank you so much for sharing, Stephanie. I think we should do a follow-up in a couple of weeks where we have gotten it to do even more things for us and we have improved its performance and see what are the results it actually drives for us. There will be an interesting moment of time where we could truly point out that it not only increased the traffic, which we can see it can do in various ways, not necessarily productive ways, but if it can actually start leading to connecting us to more of our ICP clients with quality content.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you so much for the demo. And thank you
Hey,
for this agent for us. Super exciting. I learned a lot, even just looking through it and poking around the thought process.
yeah, and I spotted a lot of things that need fixing. Thank you so much, Yana. It's been a pleasure as always.